Hi, Lisa K. Donner here for Liberty Nation, and the George Floyd trial is now underway. LN's legal affairs editor, Scott Cosenza, is covering every jot and tittle. Welcome to LN TV, Scott.
Hi, Lisa.
So Derek Chauvin's trial didn't start when it was supposed to, and this was due to a challenge regarding third-degree murder charges. What exactly happened there, Scott?
The state of Minnesota, in the person of radical progressive Keith Ellison, who is the Attorney General, thought that the second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter charges were insufficient for Mr. Chauvin, and he wanted to add third-degree murder charges. The trial judge threw those charges out in October and again in February or early March when they were presented by the prosecution because he thought they didn't apply. The state appealed that decision to the appellate court and then to the Supreme Court. And it's a bit of a sticky wicket, Lisa, but what the third degree...
Let me just clarify. Then you said he appealed to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court or the
yes,
U.S.
ma'am.
Supreme Court?
This is a matter that is just about the interpretation of state law. And so
Got
the
it.
state Supreme Court is the highest court.
Got it.
And they ruled that the third degree murder charges could be reinstated. But here's the thing. There's another question, a more fundamental question, Lisa, that they didn't weigh in on, which they're currently kind of weighing in another case, and that is whether or not third-degree murder charges can be placed at all in a case where somebody else wasn't injured or attempted to be injured. So the reason behind this is that third-degree murder charges are typically used in instances of drunken driving, where you couldn't say that somebody had an intent to murder somebody or kill them. They were just so reckless, for instance, right, that they were guilty of a murder, even though they didn't have intent to kill a specific person. And that's the reason why the defense says these charges are not applicable in this case, because the state is arguing that Mr. Chauvin intended to kill one person in particular, Mr. George Floyd. And so if he wasn't intending to kill any one person in particular, kind of what are we doing here? Sort of the answer there.
All right, so he's already charged with second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter. Why is this becoming such a crucial, vital fight for the inclusion or exclusion of this charge? In other words, if it's included, who wins? If it's excluded, who wins?
I think the thing is that Mr. Ellison and the state desperately want to convict Mr. Chauvin on a murder charge. I think they'll be defeated politically and consider it a defeat themselves if they just get a manslaughter charge. And the bar to convict someone for third-degree murder is significantly lower than the bar to convict them for second-degree murder. So I think it's just as simple as them wanting to make it easier for a win for the state. And that's why they're pressing for these charges. And the reverse is true for the defense, which is to say anytime an additional charge is added, that's a potential charge that a jury could find he was guilty of. So it's better to have fewer charges to fight against than more.
Well, I know you sort of have the theory that Chauvin could be convicted of third-degree murder and walk. How exactly could that happen?
Okay, so the third-degree murder charge that has been added back is still a novel charge against someone who hasn't committed one of these other crimes that endangered others, like, for instance, the drunk driving example. That's currently being assessed in the appellate courts of Minnesota. So the state Supreme Court could say that even though it was appropriate for the trial court to obey the appellate court and add this charge, that once it examines the underlying charge itself, it could throw out the whole thing after he's been convicted. So I know that was a lot, and I'll break it down for you. What could happen is, Lisa, Chauvin gets convicted of third-degree murder and none of the other charges, not the second-degree manslaughter or not the second-degree murder charge. He appeals that decision in the state courts and says, this is not a proper application of murder in the third degree. They may then agree that it wasn't a proper application of murder in the third degree. But here's the problem for the government then. He's already been placed in jeopardy and undergone trial for those other two murder charges. Therefore, they may not be able to charge him again and try him again on the charges that they already tried him on. So if he can't be convicted of third degree because of the state's court issue, then he may not be able to be convicted of anything. I realize that's a bit That's a bit far afield, but it really could happen. And of course, then the cities would presumably burn if it did. And so that's why I kind of am interested in the topic, because it seems like Mr. Ellison is not working, to the benefit of calming racial tension in America.
But you had an article last week on Liberty Nation News that talked a lot about civil or some money settlements that could calm the waters no matter the outcome of the trial.
Well, the city paid Ben Crump and Mr. Floyd's relatives $27 million on Friday, or excuse me, they announced they were going to pay that settlement on Friday. And while I think that is certainly going to be a calming influence for violence in the air, it won't be if Mr. Chauvin walks free. I feel like he's now going to have to be a martyr to the left, in the sense of it doesn't matter whether he did it or not, or how Mr. Floyd died or not. If we want peace, it seems like he has to be convicted.
All very interesting. A trial that I'm sure you'll be closely watching. Thanks so much, Scott.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of LNTV. Remember to hit Liberty Nation News for original articles. The Uprising, which Scott hosts and I personally recommend, the Rabbit Hole podcast, which I also recommend, and our signature television program, The Conservative Five. Just go to libertynation.com on your browser, hit Rumble, YouTube, or check out our Liberty Nation News Roku channel. Yes, we have our own channel. I'm Lisa K. Donner. Thanks so much for watching this program. It is a production of libertynation.com, conservative news where truth matters.
Who are we? We are Americans that believe in liberty. We are a project of the nonprofit One Generation Away. We are patriots who apply the founding principles to the issues of today.
And they keep moving the goalposts on us.
We are educators and commentators who love America and the Constitution. Who are we? We are Liberty Nation.